scheduled his talk because Dr. Pereira had some important engagement. So Anand Ambali's talk has been fixed for today. Over to you, Dr. Ambali.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I welcome all the participants. We have 145 now on board, and at the outset I thank my mentors, Dr. O.P. Sharma sir, Dr. P. Shankar sir, and Dr. Prabhadikare madam for giving me this opportunity to share my views on clinical approach to the older people. Now, what we are doing for last 13 years is we have started the geriatric clinic in our institute in way back in 2007, and now we are almost 13 years of experience having treated thousands of cases. Now, I bring greetings to you from the geriatric clinic of Sri B.M. Patil Medical College Hospital and Research Center. In next 20-25 minutes, we shall discuss how we approach a older person in various setups, but we will concentrate mainly on the outpatient department. Snehal, am I audible clearly?
Yes, you are.
Yes, sir, you are, sir. Yes, sir. No problem.
Thank you.
Sir, perfectly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks. We come across the older persons in clinical scenario at outpatient department, in the emergency ward. We are called to do a pre-operative assessment, and most of the general practitioners will be called to do a home visit. And of course, now the days of telemedicine has come. So we, as a physician or a clinician, have responsibility.
Dr. Anand, some problem with your audio.
Now is it okay, sir?
Yeah, now it's okay. Please proceed.
Okay, sir. So, fine, sir. So we will discuss now how to examine an older person in an outpatient department, and that should be very important for all the participants today we are having. So what we will do is what has been done in the last 6 classes is from the O.P. Sharma sir, where he introduced how the older person presents. He emphasized on weak link, and we had a discussion on comprehensive geriatric assessment to be done, and a very important topic like frailty was discussed. And today itself we have also discussed about the acute warning signs in the older people and how all these things should be put in an approach to the older person that I will try to analyze. And what I like to tell you is, when we examine a old man in a clinical, our goals should be to identify where is the lesion, what is the lesion, and what are the disabilities. This is how our approach to the older person differs from that of the younger person. Accordingly, after taking the detailed history, general physical examination, we can plan our investigation and treatment. And the most of the important symptoms already madam has just now explained, and I will just add to it few more things. And our ultimate goal should be to prevent another disability. That is a very important aspect of a geriatric practice, and of course to improve quality of life. With these 2 important goals, one is to prevent another disability and to improve quality of life. How we will approach an old man, that is what we'll discuss. This lady, a 70-year-old lady, had come to our clinic with a history of fall, and she never had been to the hospital almost a year. And there was a history that she had skid at a fall. Somehow we were not happy. When we recorded her blood pressure, it was 200 by 120, her sugar levels were 240, all were newly detected hypertension and diabetes. So we didn't stop here. In geriatric practice, we need to go one step ahead. We did a CT scan. As madam rightly told, stroke can be a presenting feature of the falls in older people. And the very fact that you can see she has a bleeding around the eyes, so that itself tells the severity of the injury that lady had. Luckily, she didn't had a weakness in the left half of the body. Now you can see in the CT scan, there is a huge infarction in the right occipital area. So this lady had a stroke, which has led to fall, and she had 2 hidden diseases, hypertension and diabetes, which both were in the higher levels and which were undetected. So this is how an old man comes to the clinic. Most of the old people come to the clinic, and all the participants should remember that it is not just in one way. We have to have an multi-dimensional approach. Now, the clinical approach is an integral tool that examines factors that are responsible for the course of the disease and outcome of the treatment. As a clinician, we have to focus to the patient's functional, physical, mental, emotional, pharmacotherapeutic, and socioeconomic status. This is what we don't do in adults, but in the older people, it is mandatory to know the person as a whole and not only the disease. The message should be taken home very clearly by all the participants. Now, the approach is multidimensional. In the older people, when the old man comes to your clinic, your approach shall be to know the function and its ability, as I told in the goals. What are all the diseases he has? What are the comorbidities he has got? What are the disabilities he has got? The third thing is, what is his mental status and his cognition? Because that is very important for the success of your treatment. And fourth is the supporting network. Who cares for her or him in the home? Is it a daughter-in-law, or they have maid servants, or who is taking care of them and who will attend them in emergencies? These all things we have to know when we start treating the older persons. And I just like to bring to your information that all these things cannot be done in one setup. A new patient in a geriatric OPD, even in my clinic, it takes almost 30 minutes for a basic workup. And to know all the social aspects and mental aspects, it takes another long time. So what is intended is from the participant is you can spare some times. It cannot be done all the examination in one go. You have to give time for the older people at the frequent visits, and then only you can complete a clinical approach. At least it will take around 3 to 4 setups to make a complete clinical approach in a given patient. Now, it is an era where the older persons like to know he is a diabetic, he go to an endocrinologist, he has rheumatoid arthritis. So for all diseases, they have a specialist, and they keep moving from one specialist to another specialist. And at the end of the time, when they come to us, they will be having multiple drugs that they'll be taking. Most of the time, it is a repetition of the drugs. It is either a antacid that will be taking, or most of the times what commonly we have seen is the old person is taking 3 types of B-complex supplementations prescribed by various consultants. So that is where the role of geriatrician is more important, and we need to know that multifaceted presentations in the older people, as Madam mentioned in her class, and there is a multidimensional effects, and that is how we have the role of geriatrician comes across. The most important thing we should all know is we are dealing with the older persons who are on the verge of independence to dependence milieu. So that is very, very important. As the age grows, the whole independent person is likely to become dependent on the caregivers or the relatives. And the very important thing is the way disease behave in the older people, and the elderly, how they behave when they get the disease is very challenging, and it takes certain time and experience to know what exactly this happens. And I think this photograph describes how older person sees themselves in the shadow. And of course, geriatric medicine is a family-oriented specialty. So we have to involve family members or the caregivers when we start treating the older man. So coming back to the history, always ensure you take the history from the patient. This is very, very important. Don't allow the attenders to talk immediately. First, talk to patient, allow the patient to speak for 10-15 minutes, and then either counter check or ask some questions to the older people or the caregivers. Because when the caregivers or relatives are told to give the history, they will tell what they have found the importance. If the old man is coughing once in a while, that is a major issue that the caregiver will tell you. But when you ask the person, he tells constipation is the most important problem for me, which is not seen by the caregiver. Okay, so always allow the patient to give the history, talk to them, listen to them, and then clarify if you want certain things from the relatives. The good old format, what we are taught in medical college, like the chief complaints, history of present illness, past history, they are all usually combined in the older person. I'll just like to bring to your information, all the participants, that when the old man comes to you, he himself is a book of medicine. So he has a lot of things to teach you. And second thing is, He is so intelligent. You please don't underestimate him. He can assess you, your judgment. He can judge you how intelligent you are or how cooperative you are in making a trip, because he has seen many physicians before he has come to you. And the last week we had one question of whether law of parsimony does true in these patients. The answer is no. Law of parsimony doesn't hold true in the older population. Now, as come back to the history, we have to take the history from patient, history from the caregivers, and the most important is history in the absence of the caregiver. This is where you will come to know the mental agony or the abuse that they have been undergoing, or loneliness they have been undergoing in the home when their caregivers are away from the patient in the consultation room. And usually the past history is longer than the present history. They go on telling what all happened in last 50 years. If a 70-year-old man comes, he will tell you the appendectomy history that is undergone until the cataract extraction that has been done recently. So there will be plenty of past history. We should ask about history of immunization. Of course, we are immunizing. We have state-of-art immunization clinic in our institute against the pneumonias and tetanus and hepatitis B. History of dental issues is very, very important, because most of the older people, they come with breathlessness, and you examine them, he will have anemia, and just examining the oral cavity, there are plenty of dental issues, the edentulous. So that has led to anemia, and they come to you with breathlessness. This is how the old man comes. And that also leads to constipation, decreased food of intake. So they reduce the food intake because of the dental issues, they develop constipation. So constipation can be again the presenting feature of the issues in the oral cavity than the food itself. So as a geriatrician, a clinician has to be aware that we have to look at the dental or oral cavity as well. The very important aspect is the drug abuse. Most of the older people we come across will be either abusing an alprazolam for a sleep, or a diclofenac sodium for an osteoarthritis, steroids for the osteoarthritis or COPD, crimafin for chronic constipation, and of course alcohol dependence. So, and we all try to get the data of the drugs that they are taking, and we collectively call it as a brown bag concept. And all clinicians must know what all the drugs they are taking, not only allopathic, also from homeopathic and Ayurvedic drugs they'll be mixing, and that we have to try to know. Then coming to the past history, the older people take it pride in telling you that I had underwent an open heart surgery, I underwent a knee replacement surgery, and nowadays there is an organ transplantation going on. So older people are always happy to inform you about their surgeries. They just open the shirt and tell that this is a scar that I underwent. So we should always respect that a past history. Sexual history is very, very important, which is ignored by most of the clinicians. It is the clinicians I have seen who are hesitant to ask about sexual history, not the patients. The patients are open to talk. And coming to the examination points, again, we have to ask him, how did he reach to your clinic? In our setup, most of the older people, they come either by bus or an auto or by cycling. And this itself tells, this gives indirect evidence that this person is mentally, physically and socially fit as now. Okay.
Dr. Ambali, voice is broken. We can't hear you. There may be some net problem.
Am I audible now?
Now you are audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the most important symptom with the older person is they have the fear of coming to hospital, because they think that the moment I go, they will admit me in the hospital and start doing a lot of investigations on me and prick and put the RAL strip and all those things. We have to address that. The most important thing we all should ask is which activities have been stopped recently. This is very, very important. The older man has stopped any activity in the recently means he has the problem with the symptoms. Okay, if he is gardening, he was gardening earlier, now he has stopped. Maybe he is having breathlessness or he has developed frailty. That's why he is being stopping these activities. We should also know the caregivers. Who are the caregivers? Who are the family members who take care? And as a clinician, we should be aware of elder abuse in the older people. This is very, very important. You may not ask directly, but the indirect evidence will come to you. And I will be talking about elder abuse in December again to all of you. Now, as Madam told, the atypical presentations are very common. So there are very few symptoms that are classical symptoms that are seen in older people, and atypical symptoms or silent symptoms are very common. What we call them as a geriatric giants. So geriatric giants are immobility, falls, incontinence, pressure sores, intellectual impairment, and what we are doing as a clinicians is iatrogenic disorders. We are putting a lot of drugs on patients and they are creating the problem as a part of either drug-drug interaction or the side effect of the new drugs that we are adding. Now, what is the geriatric giant meant for all of us? It challenges our diagnostic skills because as Madam rightly told, incontinence or pressure sores or just an confusion. Patient was all day yesterday night, today morning he's asking, who are you? Where am I? So it can be a presenting feature of an urinary tract infection or a pneumonia. So that is how a patient comes to us. That is confusion. Patient may fall. You just come with a fall. Maybe having myocardial infarction. He never complains of chest pain. So that is what is geriatric giants, and there are the challenges to our diagnostic skills. And any disease in older person can present with these giants. So I'm just showing you some photographs of a person, old man with a polypharmacy, and this is how he comes with almost 8 to 10 drugs to our clinic. The drugs which may not be required for him, but he'll be keep taking, especially the antacids and multivitamins and diclofenac sodium for regular sleep. So alprazolam for as an abuse. So all these drugs, they are very common, which will be hiding again with you. So you should be very careful in knowing which are the drugs they are taking. There is another entity called late presentation. Most of the older people, they relate symptoms to the part of aging. So they blame it on the age. Even if they had a giddiness, they say it's a part of old age. I'm becoming weak. Sometimes they deliberately conceal. They don't want to be burdened to their family members, so deliberately conceal. To avoid hospitalization, they don't give the history that they are not feeling well or their appetite is reduced. And they have the fear and the loss of independence. The moment I go to hospital, I'll be put in ICU, I'll be tied to the bed. Some fear is there. That's why I told you we should address their apprehensions when we
Dr. Ambali, your voice is not.
Now, is it clear now?
Yeah, now clear. Please.
There is an entity called silent presentation. So absence of typical features in the older person. There is silent myocardial infarction, painless abdominal perforation, afebrile infection, which has been discussed adequately by Madam just now. Now, the most important aspect of communication with the older person is a skill how we deal with them. So when we try to talk to the older person, we should always get the person's attention before speaking, ensure that we have an eye-to-eye contact, ensure he is wearing eyeglasses, dentures and hearing aids before we talk to them. Otherwise, he may not understand what you're talking. Always face the person while speaking. Never distract yourself with the mobile phone. Never shout at them. Speak very clearly to them. And always use gestures and the body language so that they can understand better. And keep smiling if they want to smile, or if you show some gestures. Of course, nowadays with the COVID area, we are wearing masks and we don't know whether we are they never understand that whether smiling or we are angry on them. And of course, the older people seek privacy. And when they are surrounded by their children and their daughter-in-law, they don't reveal much of the history, but only when they are having the problem with the privacy, they want to speak something to you, either they come alone or they want their children to go out of your consulting area. Now, this is an old man who had come to me who cannot hear and cannot see. And these are the patients who are very challenges. The only mode of communication to him was by touch. You just touch on his head, he used to say, no, no, there's no headache. So put your hand on chest, no, no, there's no chest pain. Like that, this is how the old man comes to, these are challenges for us. And older people keep complaining that I forget, the moment I come to your clinic, I forget what all had problem in last 1 week or last 2 days. So what we tell them is write your symptoms in the OPD slip, or tell your grandson to write your symptoms, what you had on Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday or last Friday, Saturday, so that they can I'm just showing you in the screen. Just showing you the screen. Am I audible? Kaushik sir, am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes. So it is always important for us to take the history of falls. Most of the older people, they conceal. They don't want to lose their identity or independence. So they don't report falls. But it is our duty to ask the fall. And we should ask all the older people about constipation. They try to hide this, but it is important to know whether they are having constipation or not. And last week, madam had discussed about the social history. We should know who helps them in emergency, who are the people to take care of them, and is there the older person is being subjected to elder abuse, and whether he stays alone. All these things as a clinician we should know, so that we should be able to help them in the need of hour. Coming to the vital signs, apart from pulse, blood pressure, respiratory temperature, there are two more vital signs that in geriatric practice we do. That is, one is the pain, and second is the delirium. We should
We can't hear you, Dr. Anand.
Anand, again, your voice, your audio issue. Dr. Anand Ambali, sir. Dr. Ambali.
Sir, voice not audible.
Dr. Ambali, you had muted yourself by mistake. Now it's okay. Please proceed.
Sir has to actually show his presentation, sir.
Okay.
Sir has to share the slides.
Right, right. But why in between he muted himself?
it is now.
Achha. Yes, sir.
Am I audible now, sir?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Another
audible.
challenge.
Dr. Anand, you can mute your video. Switch off your video.
Mr. Nayak, kindly help Anand. Mr. Nayak, please help.
Dr. S.V. Kulkarni here. I have got a request to all the people who are running their videos. If they will stop their videos, then Anand's voice will be clear. Anand's video also can be stopped completely. We are interested in his audio and his presentation. So please stop your videos. That will give
Yes,
a
sir. I have
bigger,
stopped my video.
yeah, bigger. It will give a bigger bandwidth. Subhangi,
Fine, sir. Fine. Now, am I audible now?
yes, you are very clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry for that connectivity. So always, you should always respect the body donors who come. They pledge that they have.
Dr. Anand, again, voice issue there.
I think, sir, I think there's an internet connectivity problem.
Oh.
Dr. Anand, we can see your slides now. You can please continue with your PPT.
Mr. Nayak, in case it is possible, kindly mute everyone except Dr. Anand Ambali.
Everyone is muted, sir.
Okay.
Everyone except you and Dr. Anand, everyone is muted.
Okay.
Okay, I'll
Now am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible now? Yes, sir. So screen is seen here.
Yes, sir, we can see your
Hello.
screen. Just go, sir, we can see your screen. Now you can continue, sir,
Fine.
now.
Okay, sir. So the what weak links means is a disease in one organ precipitates the decomposition of another system. So that is very, very important symptom what we should know. Just to elaborate, I will take another 2 minutes, sir, with the permission. 65-year-olds and with hypertension, diabetes, ischemic heart disease with the ejection fraction of mere 35%. And he has been consulting many clinicians, and where he was asked, do you have breathlessness? Do you have breathlessness? He never said he had a breathlessness. He even came to me and the same thing, sir, everybody is asking me, am I having breathlessness? And what was his issue was he has bilateral severe osteoarthritis of a knee, because of which his walking speed is so less, and he never felt he is breathless. So he never complains of breathlessness despite having poor ejection fraction. So this is one of the typical feature that we come across in clinical scenario. Okay, and we should always respect the caregiver who is coming with the patient. We have a blind lady with 65-year-old blind. His sister is coming. She's also 60 years, and here a 94-year-old man. Happens to be father of a doctor. He's been taken care of a 65-year-old maid. So this is a sandwich generation. Always take care of the caregiver, and when they come to us, we should respect them. Never scold the caregivers. In the clinical scenario, for all the take-home message is: don't take the older people for granted. They have more experience in having examined by many clinicians in their lifetime. They can judge you and assess you. And say no to ageism. Please don't practice ageism. So this is what we should follow. We should never deny any mode of treatment at any age group despite having multiple comorbidities. The best successful clinical approach will be communication. Listening is the best communication. Listen and listen to the problems of the older people. And as I repeat again, they are the book in themselves. When they come to your clinic, it is a whole medicine that they will be having in them. It is only for us to learn from them. And it's a time for us, for all the practitioners, to have a geriatric clinics. Of course, when we utilize a team to take care of the older people, especially when they need assistance in rehabilitation, physiotherapy, and home nursing care, we need a team, and team works in providing better services to the older people. So I thank you all for taking this clinical approach. And I quote Mahatma Gandhi ji that elderly need our love and care. Our little contribution to make their world healthier and happier will be appreciated. I unquote. So I thank you, the GSI, and all the participants for having patience to listen to me. Thank you, and we'll go with.
Well, I would like to say both the presentations were masterly presentations. I would request Mr. Nayak to kindly mute everyone except Dr. Ambali and Dr. Karnitkar, and Dr. Ambali to kindly go ahead with the Q&A session.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I'm sorry that I've unmuted myself. Sir, few of the slides we have missed. Can you repeat it?
Yes, madam.
few of the slides of Ambali sir we have missed because of the interrupted connection on sir's part. So can we have that slides again, sir?
Okay, if time permits, I will share you again. Okay, before that, we'll take some questions. Will that be fine? Or shall I share the slides, sir?
Sir, I think that would be better because we have missed few slides. So,
Dr.
Especially
Ambali, my
23
request
to
will be
27.
whatever the slide missed, in case it is possible for you, either show the slides or you can speak. Dr. Ambali, you can take little extra time and show those slides because clinical approach
can.
is one
Yes,
of the
sir.
most important subjects. Please proceed.
Right, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
I think I am audible now.
Yes, sir, you are.